Welcome to the Digital Moneta channel. Today we will be taking a look at the trailing stop buy feature and how we utilize it to avoid losses and lock in profits. And so the first one we will show you today will be over on the Binance Hopper that we have set up using our technical analysis signals and how we were able to lock in a profit that could have easily have been a loss, but since we had the trailing stop buy in place, we were able to lock in a 3% plus profit on ELF. So if we jump over to Trading View, our requirements of the Bollinger Band being met and 20 oversold being met would have triggered a buy on this candle here, on this candle right here. And had we hit that candle, and we can see we would have been stopped out on this candle right here as its wick traveled down below the 4% mark, which is where our stop loss is set up to trigger a sell so that we don't incur a larger loss. And so we would have taken a loss had we gotten in on that candle and never achieved the later 3% upward move. Now, instead of getting in on that candle, we actually had the trailing stop buy enabled, and so it actually followed this down until it saw a retracement upwards. And once it saw that retracement upwards, a positive move upwards of 0.25%, which is where we have our set at. And since we had come in on this candle, this movement down is not nearly as large as it is from here to here. And so we don't even come close to the 4% mark, and we're able to ride this wave up. And so the trailing stop buy allowed us to get into a position that avoided a loss and provided a win. And that is on ELF, where we ended up with a 3.34% gain rather than a loss. And then the other example we're going to show you real quick is on our Bittrex TA, technical analysis bunny account. Same settings. We still have our trailing stop buy set at 0.25%, and we can see XVG ended up as a win where it could have just as easily gone against us. And if we take a look, we can see we meet the Bollinger Band requirement and the oversold requirement as we broke through this line on this candle here. And if we'd have got in on that candle, we would have certainly been hit our 4% mark on the candles that dip here and never been able to take the ride up. But instead of buying in on that candle, the trailing stop buy allowed us to get in down here actually. And when the market moved back in a positive direction, that 0.25%, we were able to get in, never meeting that 4%. We don't even really hit 3% on this downward move, so we get saved. And then we're able to ride it up and get out for our 3% gain. And actually, I think it retraced before we actually got out. So we ended up with a gain of 2.73%. But again, that shows you where we were able to avoid a loss, get a win, because we didn't get in on the initial candle, we got in much later, and we're able to lock in profits rather than a loss. So that is just a quick video on how we're able to pick up some gains by having that trailing stop buy in place versus a potential loss based on our technical analysis settings. So if you do not have the trailing stop buy set up, you can come over to the Config tab, click on Base Config, and click on Trailing Stop Buy. Simply enable Trailing Stop Buy and set in your percentage. We have it set at 0.25%. We don't want it to move too far up. You start giving away profit. We think a 0.25% tick up is enough to see positive momentum, and then go ahead and get into the position and watch it continue to rise. If you have this set too high, you might actually cut into your profit. So just do a lot of back testing before you apply it. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this video up. We just want to do a real quick one, especially in a down market where we see large moves down. There are ways to avoid those double-digit losses. And as you can see, we're still producing decent gains even with this market moving in a downward motion. So if you liked the video, do us a favor, spike that like button. If you dislike the video, let us know in the comments how we could improve. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. That way you can stay current with all of our updated videos. And until next time, lock in those profits, and we'll see you in the next video.